In this video we're going to look at a kind of error that can occur with doubles that is a result of the fact that arithmetic on them is approximate. Now I must apologise in advance, I'm using a bit of Java that we haven't introduced before, which is going to come up in the next part of the module, and that is these conditional statements or if statements, but we'll explain what they mean when we get to them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this line here that says we're going to create a variable called r, which is a double, which is equal to the square root of 2. Okay, so we're taking 2.0, we square rooted it, and down here what we're going to do is we're going to basically do one of these two things, either this or this, and that's what this if statement does here. It basically checks to see if this is true, and if it is, it does this, and if it's not, it does this. And we'll get back to the syntax of if statements more later on. Now, what does this mean here? Well, essentially what we're doing is we're saying take r and multiply it by itself and check to see if it's equal to 2. The way you check something is equal in Java is you use these two equal statements, equals equals. Now, because r was the square root of 2, you'd expect r times r to be equal to 2. Okay, so you'd expect really mathematically for it to print this out and not for it to print this out. However, go over here and look at what happens when this program is run. Then we can see, I'm just going to run it again, and we can see it says here root 2 squared is not 2 but 2.0000 all the way up to 4. This is a result of the errors creeping in because of the approximation. So one thing you should never ever do with these doubles is you should never ever check that they're equal to something. What you need to do in practice is check that they're near enough for something, and that's what's going on down here. The first thing we've done is we've introduced a constant, a final double called epsilon. Epsilon's a traditional name for a small number, and it's got this funny thing here, 1e minus 14. That's the Java way of writing this, which will be 1 times 10 to the minus 14, 1 times 10 to the power of minus 14. Rather than having this x10 in here, we just put the letter capital E as a way of writing that. Now our test is slightly more complicated. What we're basically going to say is I want to check that r times r is close enough to 2 that the difference is less than this value here. So we take our r, we multiply it by itself, we subtract 2, that then is a very small number. This math.abs takes away any sign, so if this is a negative result, it makes the result positive. And then we simply check to see if that result is less than this tiny number here, and if it is, it prints out this message, it's near enough to. Now if we go over here, we can see that's what it does. So this is something you need to be a bit careful of when dealing with these floating point numbers.